Hello, once again. Dr. Blake Myers here, naturopathic physician, author of the Bridge System Guidebook. And I'm just going to continue a little bit on this discussion of the gut. So, I've talked about the importance of the gut microbiome in the last couple of emails and videos. And then I talked about feeding the gut bacteria, right? And that fiber is really what we want to feed them. It's that part of, it's a part of what we eat that we don't digest, but our healthy microbes do. Um, but there's another aspect that's really important to consider, and that is how do you also, besides feeding the good bacteria that are already in your gut, how do you continue to put more good bacteria in? And this leads me to talking about fermented foods. And I really think of fermented foods as a food category of all their own, really. We think about the major categories of being like we need protein and carbohydrates and fats, and we think about, okay, we need fiber. That's a big kind of nutrient category. And maybe we think about food categories of like grains and legumes and these sorts of things, but and vegetables, right, and fruit. And I would add to that fermented foods. So fermented foods are it's any product that's had either naturally occurring bacteria uh, ferment it, or depending on what it is, you might add microbes to it. And sometimes yeast are there fermenting, and bacteria ferment as well. The most common fermented food is probably sauerkraut and kimchi, and then things like yogurt is cultured, and there's other dairy products like kefir. And but a lot of things can be fermented, and it's really easy to do on your own. So I often buy different types of kimchi and things that I enjoy and yogurts that I enjoy, but I also make my own fermented food at home. Like right now, I made beet kvass. So this is a really interesting one. It's basically just beets, water, and some salt, and you let it set out to ferment for a few days, and it tastes really, really good. And the benefit to fermented foods of any sort, you can ferment pickles, also olives, I mentioned in the list in the email, just to let you know that there's lots of different types of foods that can be fermented, but they all have a similar benefit in that there are prebiotics, probiotics, and postbiotics in a fermented food. So what that means, a prebiotic is something that is digestible for bacteria. It's food. So you've got fibers and other sugars and things in, let's say it's sauerkraut, in the plant material. There's food for the bacteria, and they're fermenting it and digesting it, right? When you eat a fermented food, it's not like all of that's been digested. It's actually the plants have been broken down a little bit more, so it's even more accessible and easy for the bacteria in your gut to get to, and nutrients are more available. So there's a prebiotic effect when you eat, let's say, sauerkraut, and it feeds the healthy bacteria already in your gut. But you've also cultured and grown out different types of bacteria in the culture. And so the most common term for making your own sauerkraut at home, let's say, is it's called lacto-fermented, because the bacteria that grow in there produce lactic acid. So it's called lacto-fermented. And those bacteria also can populate your gut when you are eating sauerkraut or drinking the brine that it's in and stuff. So you're adding, lactobacillus species for one example. And if you look at yogurt, for it'll tell you the cultures they put in there. It's usually lactobacillus and bifidobacteria. You get lactic acid bacteria in homemade things like sauerkraut as well. But lactobacillus and bifidobacteria are really common and important healthy gut bacteria. So you're putting healthy ones in. But here's another cool thing. There's postbiotics. So a postbiotic is when bacteria ferment fiber, they make byproducts of their metabolism. And one I've talked about on here before is butyrate. And this butyrate has anti-inflammatory impacts on the whole body, but it's really, really important for the health of your gut microbiome and your gut barrier. It helps to heal leaky gut. It helps to balance the immune system. It kind of regulates many aspects of a healthy gut. So fermented foods in the Celerate diet, which is the diet that I put together for phase 1 of the Bridge System, where it's the reset, I tell you to start increasing fermented foods in there, and ideally, it's nice if you can get to a point by phase 2 where you can have fermented foods every day. But I try to take it slow, and so the Celerate diet, besides cutting a few things out, adds in enough protein and starts to add in fermented foods, and even a little bit goes a long way. So you can just have, you could have a half a cup of sauerkraut every day, and it's going to bring a lot of benefits, a lot more than not doing it too, right? So just think of fermented foods as a food category, and adding some to a meal every day or snacking on it throughout the day. And I think you'll start to see a lot of gut benefits from that. All right, if you find this useful, please share the Bridge System Guidebook with someone, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and share the YouTube channel or social media with your friends and family who need this knowledge and support. Take care.